Today, we wanted to show you how to make the ever-popular Old Beijing Zha Jiang Mian. This mixed noodle dish can come with like a bunch of different toppings, but the critical constant is the handmade noodles and, of course, the chunky, sticky bean sauce. So to get started with Zha Jiang Mian, you'll need mian, noodles. The specific sort of noodles that are used here are called shogan mian, hand-rolled noodles. If you live in China, you can often just waltz into your local market and buy these, but for all of you abroad, we figured we should back up a bit and show you how to make them. So to 250 grams of all-purpose flour, add in a quarter teaspoon salt, make a little well, and slowly add in 115 grams of water bit by bit. Combine the water with the flour and start kneading. If you don't feel like kneading by hand, you could alternatively put this in a stand mixer on speed 2 for 5 minutes, but going by hand took us about 10. Now, after those 10 minutes of kneading, the dough will still look a bit dry, and that's completely okay. Just pack it into a little ball, cover, and let it rest for at least 15 minutes. After that quick rest, cut into 2 pieces and pat to form a rough rectangular shape. Now use a rolling pin and roll from the center out to get it into a longer sheet. Dust both sides with flour, take an edge and roll it around the rolling pin to roll the dough out thinner. This technique allows the dough to be stretched thin without the need for a massive work surface. What you're looking for is a thickness of about 2 to 3 millimeters like this. If it ends up a bit uneven, that's okay. Just cut out the excess and work that separately. Now dust both sides again, fold the sheet over 3 or 4 times, and slice down to get noodles. You're looking for something about a half a centimeter wide. After cutting, loosen the noodles up, dust over a liberal amount of flour to prevent sticking, and you've got yourself some shogan mian. Now, for the sauce, Zha Jiang sauce centers around this stuff, ganhuangjiang. If you can't find it, you could alternatively use Japanese red miso. Just please don't use yellow soybean paste. It'll make for a very different end result. So add 300 grams of ganhuangjiang or red miso to a bowl and add in 50 grams, about 2 tablespoons of tianmianjiang sweet bean paste. If you can't find tianmianjiang, you could maybe swap in some hoisin. Not the same thing, but it would hit most of the same notes. Now slowly add in 150 grams of hot boiled water, a bit at a time, stirring constantly. Once all that's incorporated, set it aside. We'll be frying this with a bit of pork belly, so grab 100 grams, slice into half-centimeter sheets, then half-centimeter slivers, and finally a dice. And now, to fry. So today, we'll be using this non-stick Teflon skillet. I usually don't like cooking on non-stick, but trust me here, it'll save you a lot of headache. Add a third of a cup of oil to the skillet, and over medium heat, toss in the pork pieces. If you can't eat pork for whatever reason, feel free to skip it, and just start the next step with about a half a cup of oil instead. Once the pork's cooked through and a couple pieces are just starting to turn golden, about 2 minutes, take out the pork and set it aside. Now to that oil, same medium heat, toss in 1 leek cut into sections and 3 inches of smashed ginger. Let that fry for about 2 minutes to flavor the oil, then shut off the heat and take those out. With the heat on low now, add in your bean paste mixture and start stirring. At first, the oil and the paste will be separate, but over time, as you stir, the bean paste is going to absorb everything in. The reason we opted to do this over Teflon is that this stuff has a nasty tendency to stick and burn to even the most well-seasoned woks if you don't stir it like literally non-stop. After about 15 minutes of cooking and stirring, the sauce should have absorbed most of the oil. At this point, add in the cooked pork and keep stirring. Some of the fat from the pork belly will render out and give it some nice richness and sheen. 20 minutes later now, this is what we're looking at. Most of the oil is incorporated, but there's this thin layer of excess rendered lard, which is what we want. Now season with a quarter cup of sugar, 1 teaspoon salt, and optionally a healthy sprinkle of MSG. Let all that dissolve for about a minute, then shut off the heat. Take the sauce out, and be sure to jar up the excess. This stuff keeps real well, and like the whole essence here is to make a big batch and have a bottle handy for whenever you feel like some noodles. So speaking of which, let's boil some noodles. Toss your hand-rolled noodles into some boiling water and cook until the water comes back up to a boil, about 1 minute, and take them out. Now for the topping, again, this is mostly preference. Today, we went with some Chinese celery, blanched for 10 seconds, then diced, some mung bean sprouts, ends picked and removed and quickly blanched for 10 seconds, cucumber cut into sheets and julienned, and radish, like actual Western radish, not daikon, thinly julienned. So add in the toppings, about a tablespoon or 2 of your Zha Jiang, and mix it really well. If it's a royal pain to mix, that's a good thing, a surefire sign it's the real old Beijing style, but there's few noodle dishes more satisfying.
So for the toppings, there are a bunch of classic ones you often see edamame, carrots, snapper cabbage, and when it's in season, maybe Chinese tune. So it's really about what is seasonal, available, and convenient to you. So check out the Reddit link in the description box for detailed recipe. A big thank you for everyone that's supporting us on Patreon. And of course, subscribe for more Chinese cooking videos.